Since federal immigration agents began surging into Minneapolis, regular citizens have taken it upon themselves, like in other cities, to form groups they're calling ICE Watchers, and that keep tabs on known and suspected DHS vehicles and then film and record encounters, just as Alex Freddie was doing when he was killed by Border Patrol agents right here on Saturday. Today, I got the chance to ride along with ICE Watch volunteers on their patrol and learn about what they face when they encounter federal agents. Now, we're not going to show their faces to protect their identities. Our drivers are two individuals who came out with us this afternoon. They told us what they've seen over the past 3 months. What have your interactions been like when you have been around ICE or CBP, grabbing people or out?
Yeah, it's pretty mixed. It can often be a really volatile, high tension experience, and it just kind of depends. Matchstick, if you want to jump in at any point, let me know. But we've seen them, like, a common move is wrapping their arms around people's necks and, like, throwing them to the ground from the back. Sometimes they're just like, back up, you know.
You're saying doing that to observers?
To observers,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll yell at you back up.
Yeah, they're relatively forceful,
yeah,
even if they're not, like, physically forceful.
Yeah.
But there's also been times where they couldn't care less about if we're there and aren't talking to us or just ignoring us.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it depends on the number of observers, I think.
Yeah.
I also think that they tend to be more amped up and a little bit more aggressive and care about our presence when Bovino was there.
Oh, that's interesting. Meaning when he is, like, physically present with them, or just like, yeah. Huh.
Yeah,
so
they're also
you've experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are kind of taunting, you know, like,
yeah.
They'll make fun of people's clothes.
Have you personally encountered, either of you, like, them deploying any kind of agent, like,
yeah,
tear gas?
Almost every time.
Really?
There's only been one time.
Almost every time?
Almost every time. Yeah, absolutely. There's like tear gas and pepper spray. Yeah.
So it's like a kind of a go-to move.
I think there's been maybe one or two responses I've been to where they didn't deploy it. One was because I was the only observer on the scene watching an abduction, and I was whistling and recording, and it was like, you know, a barking dog. It was like it just didn't faze them.
Right.
And then they got in the car and went, and there was nothing I could do. And then the other one was, there weren't very many observers. There were probably 10 to 15 of us. And they were asking us to back up. They were setting a perimeter for us. And then some of the observers were insulting the agents and telling them to get out and stuff. And it wasn't until they were driving away, one of the agents in the backseat of a car, like, he didn't throw it, but he had a canister, and he did this. He was almost didn't talk to us at all the whole time he was there. And then he just, like, tried to freak us out or psych us out or something. Those are the only two times I've not seen.
Every other time they have deployed.
For what I've responded to, yes. That doesn't mean it's happening every single time.
Right, but just your own personal experience.
In my own personal experience, if there's more than 15 to 20 observers, you can almost guarantee it. In my humble experience.
I think Bovino's leaving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he left this morning.
And there's, like, some rally, I think, tonight. And he definitely, like, you know, he was fired. I mean, he got fired. He got fired. I mean, basically is what happened.
He might retire.
Right, yes. They've gone to great lengths to, like, obscure the fact that, like, he got canned.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I wonder if does that feel like a victory?
He's just another guy full of spot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Bovino was gross, but, like,
coming in, I think, which we were doing some research on an org the other day, and he seems I mean, he's still with ICE, so
Yeah.
I can't say that I like him, but he does seem like at least more measured. And I think I mentioned before, too, that, like, the agents on the ground with Bovino are often very much more aggressive and agitated.
Yeah, that's a really interesting observation.
I'm hoping that at least if Homan is in, they'll
Yeah.
actually follow some of the rules.
Yeah,
Maybe, possibly.
yeah.
I don't have a lot of hope for
And
that
I feel like it's
myself.
not a celebration until they're all the way gone.
Yeah. Caring is political right now. And so they are deeply
Totally, yes.
related.
It's obviously.
But at the same time, the majority of people's motivations aren't F this administration or it. Most people are just like seeing what's happening around them and care about the people it's impacting. They need a hard nervous system reset to go back to preschool to learn just social emotional skills. Yeah.
I do feel like very few people learned the golden rule in kindergarten. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Andrew Fallstrom is one of those ICE watchers and a lead organizer of Defend the 612, the rapid response group which brings together volunteers in Minneapolis to patrol, protect, and improve their community during this period. And he joins me now. It's good to have you here. You know, one of the things I've been struck with just talking to people is just the scale of what's going on here. This is all just like average, regular folks, right? I mean, these are not paid, for instance, as the president likes to say.
Everyone has a day job, everyone has a family, everyone is trying to take care of their kids, and everyone is out here on the streets day after day.
Can you give me a sense of the scale? I read an interview where you talked about early back in December, there being like a training for some of this stuff for like constitutional observers, and you 300, 500 people. Like, how many people are we talking about here?
There have been so many organizations training people to come out, and there have been so many different types of trainings. My guess would be at least 100,000 people have been trained in the Twin Cities in different kinds of observation,
That many?
rapid response, showing up. I have never been more proud of the people of Minneapolis because in one voice, everyone has come out to do the same thing on the streets.
There is this tremendous social infrastructure that has been built up. I was seeing a little bit of today of just like dispatch and, you know, group chats and people, you know, different turf for patrols. Like, how did this all get made?
Minneapolis is a city with a lot of talented people. I mean, the way that we can come together to organize the PTA at a school, the same people are coming out to put that.
Literally the same people, just to be clear.
The same people are running dispatches, are dispatching people to emergencies. They're running, frankly, the equivalent of an underground railroad across the city of Minneapolis and beyond to protect our neighbors and make sure that they have food, they have rides, they can get to
care,
medical
I heard about
appointments.
that, yeah.
Going home to home. There is no part of this that's not impressive. And in Minneapolis, we had the experience of the George Floyd uprising of 2020. And so those systems of care that came together in that time persisted and were able to just be amplified probably 50 times more in this time.
When I was riding around today, I was talking to those folks, and I talked to a few other people that I've been here that I think this is viewed maybe outside here, and particularly on the right, as like this in this very partisan lens. Like, well, of course, they're anti-Trumpers and they're libs, and it's a blue city, so they don't like Donald Trump. And I've just been struck that, like, it seems to me that people's motivation for doing this kind of work, which we have seen is physically risky, right, is not coming from the place of, I hate Donald Trump. It's coming from something else. How would you describe what is bringing people to this work?
I would say, like any community anywhere across the U.S. and across the world, no one accepts abductions of their children from schools, from daycare centers, from outside their home. There is no one who is going to look at what has been happening on the streets of Minneapolis and not be completely horrified at the absolute sickness of it. And so what you see is people who veterans who received care from Alex at the Veterans Administration Hospital coming out and saying in one voice, this is not okay. What you see is our suburban friends from around the belt of Minneapolis coming in to do patrol and to stand outside schools to protect children. There is the resonance in the city of Minneapolis, across the Twin Cities, and all of Minnesota, I have never seen anything like this.
I keep hearing the word neighbor from people, like as the elemental unit of what they are trying to do.
Yeah.
I've heard many people say, I'm looking out for my neighbors. I'm trying to protect my neighbors. I want my neighbors to thrive.
Yeah.
And I just found it very moving and profound that, like, that is kind of the elemental building block of a democracy is neighbor. And it seems like people are really feeling that now.
Yeah, and it's where we practice. I mean, the people who can respond within minutes are the people who are in whistle distance from your home or from wherever you are, or can hear you honking. And we have been each other's first line of response. We have been the rapid responders. And so you hear a whistle in my neighborhood, every single door on the block, people come out, people look, there's cars on the street looking. The block by block organizing has been absolutely stunning.
I asked this earlier today when I was riding around with those two folks. There's real risk here. I mean, it's horrific to have seen and to contemplate. Like, are people scared? Are they like? Did you hear from people at trainings or get-togethers after Renee Good was shot and killed or Alex Preddy was shot and killed? Like, I'm sorry, I can't come in today.
I live near Renee Good and where she was assassinated. What I saw the day after was the amount of people coming out doubled. What I see is it's absolutely risky. They will shoot my neighbor Renee in the face. They will assassinate Alex on the streets of Minneapolis. And there is no way that any of us can go to bed at night knowing that we did not do everything in our power to carry on Renee's work, to carry on Alex's work, and the people of Minneapolis can sleep soundly because we have shown up day after day for 8 weeks to protect each other and to protect our neighbors.
Can you outlast them?
I don't see any signs of slowing. What I see is more and more people stepping into their courage and moving together with one voice, whether it's looking at the hotels that are housing these abductors, looking at the rental companies like Enterprise that are renting them cars. The restaurants are refusing to serve them and opening their doors and giving free food to everyone on the block. Like, Minneapolis is not tired. Minneapolis is out here in 17-degree weather day after day, and things are just heating up.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good to be here.